Good morning. Welcome to another episode of From the AV to SCV. Today, I was watching yet again South Park, and I was watching an episode from the first season. Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo. So I was watching that episode, and it was funny. It was great going back to the early works of South Park. Seeing how they used to make their show compared to now. And one of the things that brought into mind, and the reason behind the episode of today, and honestly the inspiration for today's episode, is Mary Kay Bergman. She was the original voice actor for Wendy, Cartman's mom, Kyle's mom, Kenny's mom, the mayor, essentially all female characters in South Park, the TV show. She did the complete first season, and to my understanding, the first half of season 2. Early on, when I started watching the show, I bought the DVD, because that's what was available at the time. Blu-ray wasn't around yet, so we had DVD, and season 1 came out, was out, and I was like, all right, I bought it, watched it. Season 2 came out, I was like, okay, now I can go and get season 2. Bought that. Season 3, and up to season 4 is when I was like waiting. They came out. I tried to go get them, and then I remember on season 3, I realized that the voice for the girls were off. It just had a different pitch. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe they have better sound equipment, and I left it at that. It wasn't until maybe 4 or 5 years ago that I met my wife and all, and we were talking about South Park, and one of the early seasons came on. I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, hey, did you notice how the voice, the tone and pitch, it's kind of different? From season 1 to this episode, at that time, now you had southpark.com or southparkstudios.com, and you can watch South Park there. And she was like, nah, I never noticed. I was like, oh. I was like, yeah, it just sounds different. And then then I decided to go check it out and find out who was voicing the girls in South Park. Like, I already knew Matt Stone, Trey Parker did their voices and what have you, but on the female characters, I didn't know it, and I didn't quite bother to check, except, when the credits rolled through, I just saw the names, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe somewhere along the lines, they all incorporated the voices. And for the longest time, it would show as Shannon Cassidy, and I'm like, all right, and that must be her, and always left it at that. And then I look at the credits, and then I'd be like, well, there's no more, voice actors being credited. So I'm like, all right, I guess. And then again, like I said, it wasn't until 5 years ago when I went online, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna see who voices, Wendy, who does Sheila, who does Mrs. McCormick, And that's when I, you know, found out that Mary Kay Bergman had, you know, passed away voluntarily. You know, it was a suicide. And I just kind of like sunk in, because I'm like, oh, South Park is a funny show, and it's humorous. And yet here's this article of this lady who was awesome, and you know, passed on, and it was due to depression. And I was just taken back, and I was like, wow, I can't believe it. You wouldn't really expect that. And so, you know, it got to me, and I was like, man, you know, like, man. So I went on YouTube, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna see what they have about Mary Kay Bergman. Maybe there's a documentary that's on YouTube that I can watch, you know, see what her life was about. But I didn't find anything. There was no documentary on her, and I thought there would have been, just given the fact that she voiced for other shows like JJ the Jet Pilot. She did Scooby-Doo. She voiced Daphne. You know, so I was like, she had these roles, and of course her parents were singers as well. So I'm like, oh wow, like I didn't know they did not make a biography of her, you know. So I was looking at video clips, and I was only able to find about 4 of her, like just herself. And there were interviews, and the 3 were from I guess when South Park the movie Bigger, Longer and Uncut came out, they did an interview with her, and it was only like about a minute and maybe 30 seconds video clips of her. And you know, they asked her, what's your favorite character of South Park? And she was like, well, you know, she couldn't really pick out a character because she loved them all. And then they asked her about the voices that she had done for South Park, and she went on and, you know, just brought a big smile to my face, because she was doing these voices, you know, live, in person. No microphone to record her voice or pre-recorded voices. She was doing these like on the spot. She did Wendy, she did Mrs. McCormick, she did the bus driver lady.
We basically had 5 basic characters to start with. We had Wendy, you know, who's basically the most innocent of the characters, except when she killed her teacher, because her teacher had a love stone. So anyway, she was sweet and innocent once. And then of course Kyle's mother. By the way, don't see this filthy, degenerate movie. It will ruin your life and your hair. Anyway, so there was her, who's basically my Aunt Frances. You know, from New York, I love her to pieces. We had Ms. Cartman, who I adored because it's a 1950s housewife who's absolutely perfect, although she is a hermaphroditic crack whore. But anyway, she does bake great cookies, you know. So that's a great character that I really was happy about. And we had Miss Crabtree, the bus driver. Sit down and shut up! You know, so she was great. She was like a drill sergeant. And Kenny's mother, who's basically my version of Bill Clinton. It sounds like she's crying all the time, because she is, because her son died.
One of the characters that she played in the movie that she voiced. You know, so it was really awesome to hear her just push out these voices on the spot. No audio equipment to help her. No post-production. It was just bam, right there on the spot. And I was like, man, Mary, you are awesome. It's just the feeling that I had, and I was just like, I wish I could have met you. Just one of those, you know, you have a list of people that you'd be like, yeah, I'd like to meet this person, and then you're like, yeah, I really want to meet this person, and I don't care about this person. But seeing her on the video, on the interviews, you know, it's just like, she was really cool looking gal, you know, like just awesome. Someone that if you met, just kind of walk in and you say, hey, how are ya? She'd probably stop and say, I'm doing good. What about yourself? You know, like, how you been? What's going on? You know, like, what's cooking? That kind of vibe is what I would kind of, what I got from her, you know. And it was really, really awesome seeing those videos. And then I found a website that they were audio clips of her. I think, I'm not sure, just because it's been a while since I've gone to the website and heard the audio clips, but I think they were also part of an interview. So you had her voice there. And one of the things that I really, really want to do, I found out that she has her site, and it's located, I think it's near LA, by Hollywood, in that general area. She has her site there, and you know, they had taken a picture of her tombstone, and it had the South Park characters on it. And you know, and that was another thing. And I was like, this talented lady, you know, unfortunately had gone, you know, left us from this world. And it just, I was just sitting back and just thinking how it would have been had someone been able to intervene, you know, like someone just showed up, stopped her, distracted her, took her away from the house, you know, and just from the apartment, and just said, hey, let's go out for dinner or something like that. I know it's the what if game, because there's endless possibilities of the what if game. But just thinking what South Park would have been like had she stuck around, you know. What other projects would have come about of Mary? I know her husband had created the Mary Kay Bergman Foundation. He created one after her. And yeah, it's just wanted to talk about her, you know. There's not many videos of her. There's tributes, which is like awesome, you know, fan-made tributes, and that's really appreciable, you know. It's awesome. And just thought I'd have a take on it, you know. Just a shout out to Mary Kay Bergman, the awesome lady who helped set off South Park, helped put it where it's at today. And yeah, you know, just, you're not forgotten. You know, there's still fans out there that love South Park, love Wendy, love Sheila, Mrs. Cartman, and I'm sure that there's fans out there like I did, went and checked out who voices who, and the inspiration behind the voicing, and why each character got the voice that they did, you know. The fact that Sheila was her lovely aunt, you know, that she had absolutely adored and loved. I believe she said she was from New York, her aunt. Either New York or New Jersey, but that was the inspiration for Sheila. Mrs. McCormick was an inspiration from Bill Clinton, because, like she said, you know, like just a crying Bill Clinton, because, well, Mrs. McCormick is always crying because her son's dying. Candy keeps dying on the episodes. What did she say? Oh, the bus driver, she's just an army general. And Leanne Cartman, the inspiration was from a 1950s housewife. So yeah, you know, I certainly appreciate the work that she did and the voices that she did. You know, Wendy Tesselberger was always having the cute little voice, you know. And thank you, Mary. Thank you for voicing the characters the way you did. It was awesome. It was great. They sure created a fond memory and lifelong memory too. So yeah. And now my question on to you guys: what's your favorite voice actor? You know, from what show? Have you done any search on the voice actor? What do you know about your favorite voice actor? Or if you don't, you know, that's fine too. But you know, check them out. Like, see what they're about. You know, because like the guy H. Benjamin, he voices Archer and Bob from Bob's Burger, of course. So yeah, that's my question for you guys. What's your favorite voice actor? I will catch you guys on the next one. Again, a shout out to Mary Kay Bergman. Thank you for everything. Condolences to her family. I know they say time heals all wounds, but it just numbs them. That's what I know. And yeah, Mary Kay Bergman, you're not forgotten. You still got fans out there who still remember you and appreciate the work that you have done. And thank you for everything you've done and the laughs that you have brought me by voicing all the female characters from South Park when you were with them. And I'll catch you guys later. Later.
I think why people like South Park is because of the humor. You know, I mean, everything today is all PC. Oh, my God. You know, we have to be so careful. We can't offend anybody. You know, God forbid we should say something that might offend someone else, some group of people. And we make fun of everything. Nothing is sacred on our show. And I think people like that. It's refreshing, you know, and it's time to lighten up. You know, we get so serious in our lives. I know I'm guilty of this. I get very serious about my work. I'm making a cartoon. You know, you'd think, I mean, my God, this is fun. This is silliness. It's craziness. It's, you know, the most fun you can ever hope to have in your life.